Welcome everybody to the Sheeple Is As Sheeple Does channel. I've been meaning to cover this story for the last couple of weeks, but obviously I've kind of had some hiccups in between there that have delayed me from covering this topic. But this is a topic that everybody out there needs to share with one another, especially since it's coming from our beloved President Donald Trump, who, of course, is a patriot, right? A patriot for the New World Order, a patriot for bringing in the surveillance state and the AI governance infrastructure that the World Economic Forum and the United Nations have sought so desperately. But the blinded sheeple out there, the blinded MAGA sleepers, obviously refuse to see the truth in plain sight. But maybe they will here. Now, we know that they have used the immigration crisis, quotes, obviously, I'm using quotations there, the self-inflicted, self-created immigration crisis that all the countries now suddenly have, and that we keep hearing about every day. The UK here, of course, this is the pivot from COVID, because obviously they wanted to bring in a digital ID with COVID, and it didn't work because of the pushback. So now they've created a new psychosis where they're creating false flags and telling you that Mexicans are killing people, killing girls at college campuses, killing Jane Does here, John Does there. They're going into people's homes, they're burglarizing. All this stuff that we see on the fake news every single night has created a psychosis in people's mind that we need more restrictions at the border. Now, I'm not saying that illegals don't cross. I'm not saying that that's not true necessarily, but obviously this is something that they're using to play into people's emotions and getting them riled up over. This is part of the America First movement that was created directly from the CIA that the alt-right media, shills like Charlie Kirk, are pushing on their audience. So these people are so angry about the border, they don't realize that they're creating that and all these other psyops like, well, dead people are voting in the elections because they want to bring in a digital ID. And this story is frightening. This is frightening. Because think about what this is going to lead towards, okay? New U.S. visa rules will force foreign students to unlock social media platforms. And think about once you start there, because remember, it always starts softly, right? Where people go, well, I agree with that. We should have rules. Let them study their social media. Well, it's eventually going to be you, okay? This is going to go to you. This is how it starts. You allow the government to do this without any pushback. The government does it. You think it's great. And then they start changing the propaganda. They tell you who the new terrorist is. Oh, it's the alt-right or it's the alt-left, and we need to do it to them, right? They'll tell the conservatives that the lunatic left, we need to unlock their social media accounts. We need to study and monitor them online. But we also need to make sure that they're not anonymous online, because they could be threats in America as they create false flags with blue-haired people who have LGBT shirts on, right? They do the same thing with the MAGA crazy. Oh, and they tell the LGBT, we got to do something about the MAGA crazy. They're targeting the LGBT. Yes, let's unlock their social media profile so that we could see who's a threat and who's not, and we could bring in the thought police, right? So part of this story that I'm about to play you the news clip for so you get a better understanding of it is if you have a lack of a social media profile, it also could prompt U.S. visa denial. So think about that. If you're from another country and you want to be a student here, but you don't have Facebook and you don't have Instagram, well, it could prompt U.S. visa denial. In other words, they want you online. They want you giving your thoughts and typing it in the internet so they can monitor and track the things you're into, what you're not. They want a data profile on you. They want a digital twin of you. Okay, they want it all. They want it all of you. So it's going to be rejected if you don't have a social media profile. Now think of what that could mean in terms of America. For people who, like me and you, aren't likely on Facebook. Some of you might be. I'm not, right? I'm on this platform anonymously. And obviously when this stuff happens, I won't be on this platform anymore, or probably any, because I will not get a digital ID. But think about that. How, well, maybe we could deport you if you don't have a social media profile, even if you were born in America, because you have to have social media. I mean, if you don't have social media, folks, you shouldn't be allowed to live, because then the government can't monitor and track every thought you have, every location you're going to, since you automatically tell people, ooh, I just checked in at this bar. Oh, did you? Does anyone care? No, but thanks for letting the government know. Oh, I just made this movement. I just went there. People are just letting the government know everything about them, every thought that they have, right? Every step they take, every breath they make. So this story, I'll play for you now. Keep this in mind and think about all of us. Objectionable online content may result in visa revocation or deportation. Listen.
US government is tightening visa rules and your social media presence is under constant watch. The US government has announced that all future applicants will be required to list all their social media usernames or handles of platforms they have used in the last 5 years in their visa application form. Not just that, they must certify that the information in their visa application is true and correct before they sign and submit the application. The US Embassy has warned that if you don't mention all your social media profiles and information, then that could lead to a visa rejection and even ineligibility for future visas. In fact, the US government has gone a step further and they are saying that visa screening does not stop after a visa is issued. All visa holders will be continuously watched to ensure that they follow US laws, and any content which the US government considers objectionable may lead to revocation of visas and even deportation. Also, what you must know is that the US government is now advising students and those looking to travel to the United States on exchange programs to adjust their privacy settings to allow vetting of social media profiles and verification of identities. If you're applying for a US visa, your social media profile must be public and not private. Now, since the Trump administration came to power, we have seen a tightening of student visa rules, greater scrutiny of social media records, including what you post, greater scrutiny of documents to check for fraud, increased questioning during immigration checks at airports, and a major crackdown on fraudulent travel agencies. How is the US government justifying these checks? Well, they say getting a US visa is a privilege and not a right. The country granting you a visa has the sovereign right to grant, reject, or stop taking applications. The US government is looking out for information on your profiles which may indicate that you are a threat to the United States. US embassies around the world are increasing capacities to carry out social media background checks. Every application is being adjudicated as it is a national security issue. The State Department is advising students and other applicants to engage only in those activities for which they are seeking admission into the United States. Any social media activity which could be seen as supporting an organization which the US has designated as a terror group, or social media posts which make the US government believe that you may launch an activity against American interests on landing in America, may lead to a visa rejection or a ban.
So I don't understand how anybody MAGA can't see where this is headed, but clearly we know that they can't see anything at all because they actually believe there was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump and still don't see that he's bringing in the New World Order, and that's how dumb most of these people are. And of course we know the globalists, all these, the United Nations, they're loving everything that's happening because this has been the plan all along. Get behind him, let's martyr him, have him go to court, make it look like he's so anti-globalist, make it look like he's going to drain the swamp, he's anti-pedo, he's a hero, he's a patriot, everybody hates him, they're trying to take him down because he's going to save the world. All right, and they get all in on him. We do all these things, and we put him in office, and every single thing he does is exactly a globalist agenda, right? AI governance, right? Removing the penny from circulation, heading towards digital currency, bringing in the America's Golden Dome, right? Surveillance system, all these things. I mean, there's a list of them, right? Merging America, Greenland, and Canada, part of the Club of Rome's 12 Kingdom plan, right? It's incredible the amount of things that we've seen so far. Day one, AI infrastructure, right? Building out AI infrastructure, destroying the current infrastructure. Every single thing is a globalist initiative. But anyway, let's look at some of the key points or key things that were discussed in that article that they're talking about in regards to visas. Again, applicants are advised to keep social media profiles public for identity verification. So you have to have a public profile online. Like I said earlier, they will frown upon anyone who doesn't have social media. So you won't get a visa unless you have it. So you better have it. And if you don't actively post on it, right? So you got to go on there and you have to act like a Stepford wife. You got to go on there and be like, everything's great. I love the world. I love social credit scores. And then they'll go, all right, we'll give you a visa to come to America, right? Just post love wins every single day. Say everything's fine with the world. Say anybody who talks about things like weather modification or whatever, or tinfoil hat wears, and guess what? You'll get a visa. So there's your clue on how to get a visa if you're listening from another country. Okay, so then it says social media activity will be continuously monitored even after the visa is issued, right? So you're going to literally be continuously monitored by the government. Are we suspicious yet? I mean, does this sound like 1984? Well, it is. It is, but the conservatives will cheer for this because they're obviously deep in the psychosis, they hate people from other countries now. And they go, I don't want anyone in my country. I'm a white male American, prideful. I don't want anybody in my country. So yeah, track and monitor them online. Right. And then when they switch the narrative on you and they put a Democrat in office and they say that you're a terrorist again because you're a conservative, you don't think that they'll do this to you, right? Yeah, they won't at all. We can trust them. Unbelievable. So U.S. embassies are increasing resources for thorough social media background checks. Okay. And that's not stating just for immigrants. That's for everyone, okay? Engaging in activities deemed a threat to U.S. interests can lead to visa denial or bans. Now take out the word visa and just put denial, and put ban, visa ban. Engaging in activities on that. So what would be deemed a threat to U.S. interests? Well, talking about weather modification, talking about how your government has turned on you, talking about false flags, psyops, how the government really works. Well, of course, that'll be deemed a threat. We've already seen that. Remember when people were questioning the validity of a virus that was caused by a bat and how the government was bribing you to get lap dances, $100 visas, RB gift cards if you went and poked yourself and put, graphene oxide inside your body. Remember that? And what did the government do to those people that were trying to speak against it and said, that's not the right thing. Don't do it. We have a difference of opinion. Well, they took your job away. They tried to isolate you from society and say, well, you can't go to the restaurants anymore. You can't go to the gym. Some places said, we want to, implement, you can't go to the grocery, right? And you certainly can't go out unless you have a mask on your face, right? So that was deemed a threat then. That's all we heard about on the news. These conspiracy theorists online are a threat because they're causing a virus to spread, right? Of course, you never hear that now. You never hear, hey, those people were right. Hey, what happened to all the people that got poked, right? A lot of them have critical health issues now, right? So whatever way they want to twist it, once you agree to allow it, they will. And eventually these conservatives who are like, this is great. We need to monitor these people so we can see if they're safe or not. We can see what they're talking about, Because if somebody's online, he's talking about how he supports the Taliban, well, we can't let him into America, right? Oh, okay, right. And then when you put, let's say Barry Soetoro, Barack Obama, say they hypothetically put him back in, someone like that, right? And they talk about how the greatest threat in America, like Biden was saying for 4 years, is the MAGA movement. And they say, oh, all these people online that don't support pride parades are a real threat. And then they create a false flag at a pride parade. Well, all of a sudden they're going to say, if you were online and you were saying something about Sodom and Gomorrah, perhaps, well, you're deemed a threat to U.S. interests. And it could lead to a visa, not denial, ban. That's where we're headed, folks. Other things, of course, that are frowned upon are having private accounts. Of course, you can't have a private account, folks. It's got to be public. So everybody could see it, right? Because there's some people that have private accounts, like a Facebook private account. They only want their friends to see it, which I fully, if you're going to be on social media, which I don't agree with, but if you are, okay, fine. You have a private account. You say you're only on there because you want to share your pictures of your kids with grandma. All right, fine. Nobody knows why grandma's on there. It's a little bit creepy, but sure. Okay, fine. It's a private account and only your friends could see it. Well, they don't want that. They want it public. They want everything public. They want it public when you're, in the shower. They want everyone to be able to see it. They want it to be like the Truman Show. Everything public. No more privacy. Haven't you noticed? So even something like this, they're hinting at what's coming, right? You can't have a private account. That'll be frowned upon. Don't you even think about it, right? Don't you engage in activities that we say are a threat. Nobody thinks ahead. Nobody says, well, what could possibly be deemed a threat? Think back. Think back when they were telling you that you were the threat when a different political leader was in power. They were saying, you're a threat. People online. Remember they were saying the biggest threat on earth other than climate change was misinformation? They said that very often. Biden said it. And you could define misinformation however you want, right? Well, there's misinformation and disinformation. It's all bullcrap. It's information that exposes what the government's really doing. That's the biggest threat to the deep state, to the government. Okay? That's the biggest threat. So when you switch leaders, that's where it's headed. These people have no idea. They're just on board. All they see is, yeah, these immigrants, let's go get them. Because the alt-right media's got them all riled up. Every day there's stories that are out there, false flags. They show you people breaking windows, looting, right? We remember, obviously, all the stuff with Black Lives Matters, the government funded and was fully behind, turning everyone on each other, turning white versus black. Now we have Mexican versus, white American conservative. I mean, it's incredible how they continually just move the chess pieces around and these people fall right in line. And then you get all U.S. visa applicants must list every social media handle used in the last 5 years. Every one. And they're going to check because they're probably going to track your not your VPN. They're going to track your domain, your IP, right? So you could go, well, I have just my Facebook, and they're like, I'm not going to tell them about, that account I use on YouTube to troll guys like Sheeple is as Sheeple does. The one D's Nuts or Professor Bumbersnot. I mean, whatever it might be. Oh, I'm not going to tell them about that. They won't find out about that one, because on that one I go and I troll people online and I bully them. I go over to that guy's channel and I tell him that he's a psychopath, he's a loser. I go over to that guy's channel and I tell him he's a word that's deemed bad now. I tell, whatever. I'm not going to tell him about it. Oh, yes, you will tell him. And if you don't tell them about it and they find out, you won't get a visa. They'll let you know of that. So they want everyone. So you're going to say, well, I'll tell them about it, but I'm never going to use that one again, right? So every single thing, and this all leads towards a digital ID. That's what this leads towards. So you start with think about what we've talked about over the last couple of years for people who have been following this channel or channels like this for the last couple of years, even though I'm a brand new YouTuber. Think about it. Talked about how important it was and how they'll do anything they can to end anonymity online and to get a digital ID in place. Okay, that was the goal with COVID. It was about more than just jabbing people. They want you to think, everybody wants you to think it's just about Depop. It was about a lot of things. A lot of things. So most people rejected that. All we heard about was, there's going to be a passport. Bill Gates wants a passport so we could see where you been. And social distance and contact tracing. So we know if you were near someone who coughed or sneezed or farted, if you might have caught it. And everyone said, no chance. Not happening. So they got all that data. And they said, look, not only are we not going to be able to get this inside of most people's bodies, they're not accepting the digital ID aspect either. They won't even get a passport. They don't want a contact trace. All right, let's think of something else. Okay, let's build Trump back up. Let's create psyops and false flags. In every country it's happening now, right? UK, Tony Blair, who was one of the advocates for the online digital passport or the COVID passport, right? All these countries are having the same problem now. Immigrants are getting in. Nobody can seem to stop them all of a sudden because the door's wide open. And the government's deliberately not only allowing it, they're deliberately filming all these people crossing so they can get you in an outrage over, oh, and they're coming and they're taking your jobs and they want to take your homes and they want to squat in your house and they want to go out with your daughter. And if your daughter says no, they're going to kill your daughter and they're going to be on a true crime. And everyone goes, we got to get these people out now. We got to get them out now. We got to get them out now. And they go, well, we'll get them out now. And you go, why? You're going to shut the door at the border? Well, if we have a digital ID that's scanned when they come over the border, then we'll be able to, figure out who's American, who's not, and who can vote and who can't. Oh, okay. As if your vote actually counts. It doesn't, right? That was the pivot. That was the pivot. And you're seeing it now. These people are going to agree with this story and say, you know what? That's great. We don't need immigrants coming. If they get a visa, then our government should be able to track them, even though we can't trust our own government. They should be able to track them and monitor them and see what they say online. And we won't think about 4 years down the line when they switch and put a Democrat back in as to what the person's saying, right? So we'll let immigrants in who are in support of Al-Qaeda in 4 years or whatever the government, the Mossad's, fake boogeyman group is, right? Oh, yeah, well, that guy says they support it. Well, the Democrat president's going to let him in. And they're going to go, no, that's not fair. What is going on here? Well, next thing you know, you're the terrorist. Everything flips upside down. And then you go, how did we get to this point? And it's all because you support the left-right paradigm, because you believe in these clowns, that they're actually there for you. You believe it because you have been trained to hate the opposite political party. You don't even realize you're a communist conservative and you're a communist Democrat, and that your only focus in life is being anti somebody who has different beliefs than you, aka, different political party affiliation than you. That's your enemy. So whatever, goes on in your day, you just want to make sure that you aren't supporting someone who's MAGA. And then the next thing you know, you're just looking around, you're going, how do we get to this point? Why did I believe these people? How did I get so lit up and angry all of a sudden over all this stuff going on? Well, because you believed in the left-right paradigm. Because you thought that Donald Trump, the guy who says, you knew who I was before you let me in, the snake, right? Because you believed that he was there for you. And all it took was a couple psyops, constant martyring. Oh, they're trying to throw him in jail. They're trying to do this to him. The media pumping you in, right? Going, oh, yeah, the liberal media telling the conservatives, Donald Trump, wrote a fake tax. He should go to jail for 15 years, right? And they're going, that's ridiculous. People do stuff like that and smudge their tax. This is unbelievable. This is a witch hunt for Donald Trump. And they're just doing this because he's going to drain all these evil people out. No, they're just doing this to get you in the psychosis. so that when you're in the psychosis, they could move you around like a pawn in the game, and then they could convince you that what is needed in the future is this right here. We'll start with the immigrants who are now the enemy of the state, and then we'll move and tell you about the opposite political party who's the enemy of the state, right? And then we could divide our states into red and blue states. And with your digital ID, you'll only be stuck in your blue states, your red states. We'll have smart cities and freedom cities. That's where we're headed, folks, all via your digital ID. And that all comes from things like this and our government doing it and the people allowing it. So let's just recap. Objectionable online content may result in losing a visa or deportation. Applicants are advised to keep social media profiles public for identity verification. They will be monitoring you continuously even after your visa is issued, okay? The U.S. Embassy is increasing resources for thorough social media background checks. So instead of a background check it's going to be a social media check, which means thought police, which means, you're posting pictures and stuff online. Well, you're like, I'm not doing anything bad online. Oh, wait, did you like somebody's comment or post that was pro-Christian or anti-Christian or pro-gay or anti? Well, that's going to go into your social media background check. You're hateful. That's hate speech, one way or the other, right? Yeah, this is what we're allowing. Of course, if you don't keep it public and you have a private account, well, you're not getting a visa either. And just remember that every single social media handle needs to be identified by the government. So if you think you're going to continually have anonymity or clown accounts like George Glass online, think again, because they got full control. So this is the nonsense that we're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. New U.S. visa rules that will force foreign students to unlock social media profiles. And of course, a lack of social media profile will result in a denied visa and eventually a deportation if you refuse to be a part of the Internet of Bodies, which I refuse to be, you refuse to be. And we all might say, well, we won't be a part of it. We're all going to live off grid. Well, you'll be deported because you're considered a terrorist threat. And they'll create a couple false flags and say we're the next Waco, and they'll throw us out, right? And where will we go? Well, we'll be put in a prison, probably Alcatraz, maybe Alligator Alley. I think it's for the immigrants. Well, it's probably for people like us, really. Oh, boy, what a time to be alive. I thank everybody for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families, as always.